If you find yourself wondering in the evening where your entire day went, you're not alone. If you realize that you only finished half of what you intended to finish on any given day, week, month, or year, you're not alone. Many people face the same problem, but only a few of them make changes in their priority and start getting important things done on time. In this video, I will give you some tips for doing the most important things first so that you don't feel stressed out all the time. It may seem like you couldn't do everything you wanted to do only because you didn't have enough time, but actually that's not true. While it may feel great to blame lack of time for your failure to cross out tasks on your to-do list, you may be keeping yourself busy with unimportant tasks while avoiding the most important ones. Let me tell you about my own experiences. I used to be a master procrastinator, and it was a major source of my stress. I often avoided the most important tasks and focused on the easy, less important ones, and I don't do that anymore. Now I devote my time and energy to the most important goals first, then only if I'm free, I'm not too tired, I do other fluffy stuff. Making this one change has tremendously improved the most important aspects of my life. I'm much happier, less stressed, and more present in my family's life. I invite you to watch this video to the end and learn some techniques so you can also reap the similar benefits that I did. Keeping yourself occupied with unimportant tasks gives you an excuse. You can tell yourself that you couldn't do the other more important tasks because you didn't have time and were busy. It's not actually true. You had the same number of hours in your day as everybody else did. Your weeks were not 6 days long. You had the same number of days in your week. Your years were not 11 months long. You had the same number of months in your year. Let's face the truth. You telling yourself that you don't have enough time is only a coping mechanism. And how do I know that? Because I was an expert myself in that area. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The reason you don't get things done is because you don't have your priorities straight. That's all there is to it. The excuse of not having time may keep you from feeling guilty, but it does nothing to reduce your stress. If you continue in this path, your stress will compound and soon it will engulf you. It will certainly negatively impact your health, your relationships, your wealth, your job, and everything that's important to you. So if you're always stressed out, always falling behind, and staring at the list of things that you couldn't complete, watch this video carefully to the end. I want you to take control of your life. I want you to take control of your situation. Without further ado, let's get into what you can do to get your priorities straight and get the most important things done first. Number one, prioritize with the Eisenhowermetrix. Eisenhowermetrix helps you categorize tasks based on their urgency and their importance. It lets you identify the tasks that you need to focus on first. So here on the top left quadrant, you have important and urgent tasks. These are the tasks with deadlines or consequences. These tasks need immediate attention and you should do them first. The example might be replacing or fixing your car's flat tire or giving medicine to your sick child. So these are very important and urgent things that can't wait. On the top right quadrant, you have important but not urgent tasks. These tasks are important for long-term goal, but they don't require your immediate action. They have unclear deadlines but contribute to your long-term success. You don't need to do them right away. You can schedule them for later completion. And the examples might be seeing your doctor for an annual health checkup. Bottom left quadrant, you have tasks that are not important but urgent. These tasks require action but are not crucial at the moment. These must be done, but they don't require your specific skill sets. So you should be able to delegate them. Example might be calling your upset customer. You can have your assistant or your colleague call them back. On the bottom right quadrant, you have tasks that are not important and not urgent. These tasks are clearly distractions and they're not necessary. You should eliminate them completely. Example might be just browsing social media. Nothing is harmed by not completing these tasks. As you can see on the Eisenhowermetrix, you have the urgency from the left to the right, going from urgent to not urgent. And on the vertical, you have important on the top and then not important at the bottom. Take a look at this matrix very carefully. If you want to create your own and list the tasks that fall under each one of those quadrants, I think that will help you very much for you to get the most important tasks done first. Number 2, use time blocking technique. Block time slots for different tasks or activities throughout the day. You want to divide your time based on the Eisenhowermetrix because you want to focus on the most important ones first, and the least important ones can be ignored or eliminated completely. When you divide and block time for those tasks, you definitely want to leave some room for adjustments because always there are some unforeseen urgent tasks that pop up, and you want to be able to handle them without impacting other important tasks. Example in this category might be like you block 9 to 11 a.m. for focused work, whether that's a high priority project or getting your most important things done. And maybe 11 to 11:30, you can take a quick break and then come back, and 11:30 to 1, you may have meetings and calls. Blocking time ensures that you allocate uninterrupted time for your most important tasks. Number 3, follow the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, you want to do it immediately. Doing so prevents small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. But when you do this, you need to be very careful because this should not mess up your priorities. Also, make sure that you don't set unreasonable expectations for people. For example, if you reply to an unimportant email from a coworker immediately, they may expect the same treatment the next time. Number 4, break down large tasks. Large tasks can be difficult, time-consuming, and intimidating. So often they are the ones that lead to procrastination. Breaking them down into smaller, manageable steps can make them more approachable. So you're not afraid of actually taking on those tasks. Once you start working on a project, that becomes your default mode, and going becomes easier. If you have not even started on a task, then not started becomes your default mode, and getting started becomes more difficult. Getting started is crucial to completion and success. An example here may be, instead of saying, I'm going to complete the entire report this morning, you want to break that whole thing into smaller chunks. Hey, I'm going to gather the data first, analyze the data, jot down some important points, do a first draft, and I'm going to edit the first draft, and I'm going to start writing the summary, and I'm going to start actually revising the draft. Breaking that big project into smaller tasks makes it easier for you to complete it. Number 5, implement something called Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique involves working in small focus bursts, usually 25 minutes, followed by a short, let's say, 5 minutes break. If you do that about 4 times, then you have about 2 hours gone, and you take a longer break. I've realized that this works for mostly manual, repetitive type of tasks and doesn't really work for tasks that take you into the creative flow state. For example, if you're sitting down and writing a novel, you don't want to get interrupted when it's 25 minutes. If you're working on a painting, you don't want to get interrupted in 25 minutes. But if you're doing some kind of repetitive task and you take a quick break and then go back to that task again, it actually keeps you from burning out. We discussed so far the 5 techniques. Number 1 was prioritize with the Eisenhowermetrix. That matrix allows you to categorize tasks so you know what to focus on first. Number 2 was using time block, and that allowed you to allocate specific time slots for different activities. Number 3 was following a 2-minute rule. That allows you to complete tasks that take less than 2 minutes right away so that they don't get piled up. And number 4 was breaking down the large project into smaller tasks. Making the big tasks into manageable small steps actually helps you complete them faster. And lastly, number 5 was implement the Pomodoro Technique. For repetitive manual type of work, you can work in short focused bursts and then take quick breaks and then repeat that process again. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and share this, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and see you soon.